focus on your story and look to fill your gaps.
Okay.
So,
Thank you, Mike, for your time today. Really appreciate it. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
yeah. So currently, I work for HP, and I'm not necessarily a product manager. We're actually called experienced product managers, which I'll get into a little bit here, where we don't necessarily own a product, but we own an
Mm,
experience across products. So we would work on like a software experience for like printing or like a or corporate type use case, and we own it across the portfolio. So various different laptops and all-in-ones and different kind of like actual
mhm,
technology machines from there.
mhm.
Um, so it's a little bit different, but so far it's been like a really, really interesting experience. And
But traditionally, what people want to do after MBA is get into a consulting firm. What made you do the opposite, like from consulting to MBA and then to a tech company?
so that's I I thought that was pretty funny when I was doing my MBA visits. They're like, oh, so you're going to go back into consulting? I was like, no, definitely not. Um, my reasons for getting out of consulting are a little bit more cultural.
Hmm.
So I felt like even though you're always kind of like, oh, we're one team and like we're working on a product and stuff together, there's always that division. There's always sides, and it makes things inefficient and at times like contentious. Where if things don't go exactly to plan, there might be some finger pointing, which was not desirable for me because, like, when I looked at who I am as a person and who I want to be in a corporate environment, I'm just ultra collaborative. I always want to, I try to be transparent. I try to be open. I try to be like one team mentality. And I felt like that wasn't super conducive to that. Um, I do think that there are some things I miss about consulting, but
Hmm.
that was generally what I wanted to like go find.
Gotcha.
And on top of that, I felt like even though we were working on like cool stuff and doing lots of fast-paced, like crazy, projects, that typical millennial impact. I wanted to work on bigger and better, and that's kind of why I feel like I wanted to go
Hmm.
to you know an Amazon, an HP, like a major tech firm that
Hmm.
that allowed me to
Hmm.
work on something that I would see more visibly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No. Can you share a little bit about your process of getting into the company? Like, what did the application process look like? What did the interview process look like? Can you share
Yeah.
about that?
So for HP, it was a pretty lengthy process. It was, I think all told, I had about 7 or 8 interviews, which
Wow.
was pretty long. So this is going to sound totally unbelievable, and this is kind of a don't do this kind of thing. But believe it or not, my resume was picked out of the stack. No recommendation, no referral. It was just like, hey, this guy's got the chops. Um, I had a call with my like hiring manager, and we just kind of like hit it off, talking about we went along, we talked about tech, we talked about just lots of stuff, and it was kind of that relationship helped tie me through the process. So the process was at first, meeting with the team. I got traditional product management questions like, tell me about a product, why do you
Hmm.
love it? Even the little curveball, tell me about a non-tech product. Um, you know, and then sort of what I'm calling like mini cases off of that.
Sure.
So it's like, okay, so you've described this product. What if this happens? What if that happens? What would
Hmm.
you do? Why are you thinking this? Um, so it was a lot of, I guess, functional questions. Tell me about the times, but really just looking for your structure, your
Hmm.
way of thinking, whether you fit culturally, not necessarily in the company, but the team. Like our
Hmm.
team we are the champions of the user. We
Hmm.
are the like user experience team,
Hmm.
and really that customer centricity has to shine through.
Mm-hmm.
So, going along with those interviews, they kind of got elevated with more of the like SMEs and the business leaders. They'd ask you more about your domain knowledge, about, hey, what trends you've been looking at in PC
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
software, that kind of stuff. And then the coup de grace was actually a hour-long interviewee-led presentation on anything customer-centric, which was harrowing, I have to say, because I was on Zoom just talking for an hour. It was an ultra tough interview. They asked me tons of like really great pointed, like tough questions. And it was like, I had never been through something like that. And in terms of like flipping the script on the interview, and I actually thought it was really cool because it allowed me to tell and show what I'm passionate about and what I'm interested in. And it also allowed them to like see my
Mm-hmm.
presentation skills, how I react under fire, stuff like that. So
Mm-hmm.
that all went well, and here I am.
Hey, can you tell me a little bit about what you do as a experienced product manager?
My role is a little bit more front end. If you
Mm-hmm.
think about the process of kind of gaining requirements, you know, de- de- defining them, making them a concept, developing them, and testing them and implementing them, tend to be on the front end. Uh, I would say a lot of what I do is thinking about, kind of just big, vague problems. Like we think about things like the audio strategy that we have. We think about things like what to do strategically with certain software products in our portfolio. We also work on individual products. Like when I look at, a product, we tend to do things like research, where kind of downstream, you're more of a consumer of research. You're reading the reports. Oh, that's interesting. Maybe we should design this or that. I'm actually conducting the research. So
Hmm.
we are finding participants that are like target personas or, target customers. We're screening them out, and then actually like conducting interviews now over Zoom, of course, where, we need to find out about their problems, how they're doing things today, kind of what's driving them crazy, the motivations and context around those things. That's one thing that I've really like valued learning and I've enjoyed the most about my job. That's been like a cool way to be coached by like our UX team and our researchers. I've really enjoyed kind of learning the ropes about how to design and conduct research. And so then we kind of take that research, conceptualize it, kind of, look for themes, look for opportunities, look for how might we's that tend to be funneled more to like someone that would be more of a product owner, someone
Mm-hmm.
that would be prioritizing that in the
Gotcha.
backlog, designing stuff with their engineers, et cetera, et cetera.
I mean, you had product management experience during your internship at Dell, but did you have any sort of learning curve? And if you did, what did you have any resource to, overcome those stuff?
Yeah, for sure. So I would say the the key to like where I was able to pivot from a consultant to a product manager is being able to tell that story where I mean I did all the things a product manager does as a consultant. I took requirements, I designed things, I worked out stuff with my developers, I tested it, so
Mm-hmm.
kind of doing all those things in combination with my internship at Dell, I think let me show that I could do this. But I will say that before school, I really wanted to solidify that, and so there was a lot of self-study, reading
Mm-hmm.
books, stuff like that. But that being said, I think there's definitely a learning curve for
Mm-hmm.
everything, especially I feel like a lot of MBA roles are MBA roles because they're ambiguous.
Mm-hmm.
They're, nothing's defined, either the process or the
Mm-hmm.
people or
Mm-hmm.
the problem. And so I would say like my biggest learning curve was actually navigating this like huge spider web of an organization. It
Yeah.
was really hard to know, hey, I need to talk to this person and that person because they're the decision makers. Where HP is a very large and like spread organization. It's relatively flat,
Hmm.
so there's a lot of decision makers that you need to consult and like bring into your process. So that was really difficult for me for sure.
Hmm.
In terms of like mitigating that, it's just relying on your teammates and your managers that
Hmm.
have that like domain experience at HP or wherever
Hmm.
you're working, and you know being okay with saying like, hey, I'm not sure how to do this. This is my idea. Come with like some sort of proposition, but just letting
Yeah.
yourself get coached.
Yeah, yeah. But like, what's your favorite part of your role, and what's maybe the least favorite part of your role?
Yeah. Um, like I said before, I just love talking with people, interesting people doing interesting stuff all over the world. Um, like I've talked to people in China about how they use like VPNs to use Google and like avoid Big Brother over there. We've
Yep.
talked to like all sorts of different people, so I really love that. The other thing I love is actually we do a lot of competitive work, and
Hmm.
so that's cool because we look at like the experiences that other companies like Apple or Dell or Amazon are like putting out there, because I mean I think it's important. Technologies, a lot of it is kind of meeting the competition, but then like looking at a lot of great ideas and things that other people do, and like seeing how that could fit in or wouldn't.
Hmm.
So I like it because we get to buy tons of cool tech stuff. I have a crazy amount of laptops. I have a couple brand new Macs here.
Send them over. Send them
I was
over.
no, no, but I have like an insane amount of technology at my house, and you just get to play with the newest and coolest stuff. Like it's as simple as that.
Awesome. Um, can you tell me a little bit about what HP's culture is like?
Oh
Like
yeah,
how the work life balance looks like there, in the culture.
right. I also forgot the least favorite part of my job. I would say um, the size of the organization is really big, and like I said, there's a lot of like parties that you need to consult and
Hmm.
kind of that they're part of the decision making process, and so that makes influence hard. It
Hmm.
makes things like um, kind of knowing who to go to first to win over, knowing what sort of like political dynamics are in play. Those sort of things actually are far more relevant than I anticipated.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's difficult. Like I don't always succeed in, um, you know, proposing like some customer centric concept or some idea. It
Yeah.
doesn't always get accepted, and so that's part of the like
Yeah. Yeah.
the tough part of your job.
Yeah.
But moving to like HP's culture, I think HP has a pretty good culture. I think that everyone's very friendly, pretty laid back, definitely collaborative and willing to, talk it out. And it's not ultra competitive or, kind of backstabby at all. I wouldn't say that at all. I would say that HP is hierarchical, um, where you know, my manager's manager, which is he's the VP of our organization. He tends to like hold a lot of the keys for good reason, though. I mean, for sure.
Hmm.
But I think when you look at your proposals or your like strategic decisions of
Hmm.
ABC, I mean, he tends to make the call. He obviously looks for input and like our expertise and everything, but um, a lot of things are driven upwards
Gotcha.
in order to like have that one say like, hey, this is the way we're going.
Hmm.
Um, so that's how I would describe HP's culture. I like the people I work with. My team's ultra cool. I would say the culture is a positive one overall.
Gotcha. My last question, advice for those who want to join HP or break into product management.
Okay, cool. I'll separate that with like, you tend to have like someone that's a career pivoter, someone that's like has technology background, and then someone that was just like, hey, I was an accountant and now I really want to work in technology. So a little bit different path. If you are from a technology background, I would say focus on your story and look to fill your gaps. So kind of like I was talking about before, I didn't have the title of product manager, but I did all the things a product manager does. And it's about like realizing that in your like self-reflection, and then answering and pitching yourself in a way that shows people and gives people confidence that, hey, this guy's done this before. Like I have no like qualms giving him these responsibilities. So that's what I would say from someone that has a tech background. Like focus on your strengths. Look for things that are gaps of your, knowledge or things that your like target companies are looking for. If you're not from a tech background, that's okay too. Like tons of people every year get into tech. I'll do this from like a product management perspective. The first and foremost thing, I've sold so many of these books, I need a royalty. But Marty Kagan Inspired is bar none the best book on product management. He is the godfather of product management, and it's a great book because you can read it cover to cover and gain like a really good insight into what a product manager does and how they do it. But it's also has chapters in like logical sections, whereas it can be used as a desk reference. So, hey, I really need to know about like road mapping. I can go read those couple chapters and come back refreshed on, hey, those are some good ideas. So it's a great book. It's on Amazon. It's everywhere. Definitely buy it. You won't be disappointed. If you're not from a tech background, I think this is like somewhat of a requirement. I think you need to be either knowledgeable about like Scrum and Agile or get your certification. It's pretty easy to get certified. There's tons of different organizations that do it. You can order like a variety of like books or whatnot. And I think showing that you're comfortable with Agile methodology, despite it being implemented in a variety of different ways, you need to show that you're comfortable like working in that environment and that you have an idea of the cadence and like the language and like people's responsibilities. I would also say if you're like, if you feel like you're lacking in kind of that like tech know-how space, or like data analysis, like you didn't have a lot of that in your previous roles or previous life, there's really easy like free stuff you can do, like get a Google Analytics certification, because data is more and more important every day, even for like older organizations like HP. Like we talk about data a lot. We talk about like what we want to capture, how we want to view it, that sort of thing. And if you are looking for a role that really wants you to be your own like data manager, or that you can pick up easy stuff like SQL. There's tons of resources out there. You can even look to get into like a basic coding class, learn like architecture and how things work. I think that would show a lot of like self-start and shows that, hey, I have an aptitude for technology. I get this stuff. I'm passionate about it, and I can do it.
Got it. No, those are really valuable points. Thank you so much, Mike, for providing all these valuable information.
Yeah. Hey, happy to do it. Good luck out there. Keep grinding. And hey, I know that if anyone wants to reach out, feel free. Happy to have a chat.